From the Joy News Center. This is News at 8.
Now, thank you very much for joining us on the Prime Time News Bulletin here on the Joy News channel. Coming up, nearly 400,000 candidates begin basic education certificate exams around the country. President Mahama arrives from his trip to the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, government has reiterated its position the numerous market fires cannot be mere coincidence as American investigators arrived in Kumasi to gather evidence from latest outbreak. Policy think tank Freedom Institute threatens to expose corrupt government officials and private individuals and companies it says are defrauding the state of hundreds of millions of dollars. Residents living downstream Wager Dam spurred much anticipated flooding after spillage by authorities over the weekend. We also have business, sports, showbiz and international news coming up in the next 60 minutes.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
A team of arson investigators currently in the country from the US are in Kumasi to gather evidence from the latest fire at the Central Market. The investigators, together with other Ghanaian officials, toured the facility Monday but were met with protests from affected traders, with at least one of them burying herself in front of the visiting Americans. The traders insist they should be allowed to rebuild and resume business. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin sent in this report.
The team was made up of two officials, John Allen, an electrical engineer, with the fire investigative team in the US, and Theresa Meza. Accompanying them was the acting chief fire officer, Brigadier John Bosco Guyiri. The area has already been cordoned off to keep the traders away. The acting chief fire officer sympathized with the traders and appealed to them to preserve the area and exercise restraint to facilitate the investigations.
I want to appeal to all the people to try and preserve that place for as long as it takes the investigation. But you see that I understand the trauma that those who have lost their wares and property, the trauma is very high. I sympathize with them.
The traders, however, say they don't want the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly to reconstruct the market. Most of them have already started clearing the debris and digging holes to erect sheds. The national chairman of the Ghana Youth Clothing Association, Kofi Sapon, says the KMA should reconstruct the whole market and not restrict its plans to the bent wings. In the meantime, however, he says the traders should be allowed to go on with their businesses. He also blamed authorities for not managing the market well to create space for vehicular movement.
We think that we have to rebuild and start working again. Then we will start earning our money. Probably, so as to get our daily bread to feed our families. That is the most important thing that we are just looking for, because everything is gone. As at now, nobody has just spoken even to the executives of the association. We must know what is going on, because they are not dealing with us. They are just making their own investigations. But we are also controlling our people here. What we tell our people, that is what they will take, because we are in a situation. So if there is any authority or any other means that they have in mind, they should liaise with us so that we also will pass on to our members.
He is also worried about authorities' inability to communicate with them and appeal to them to liaise with them so that they will be able to keep their members adequately informed. The police are maintaining a heavy presence at the facility.
Now we're staying with fires and the whereabouts of the mother of a 3-month-old baby who died in the fire on Sunday night at the Odona near the Kwame Nkrumah Circle here in Accra is still unknown. Several hours after she absconded from the charred remains of their wooden shack. Her flight is fueling speculation in the area she may have deliberately started the fire.
When the news team visited the scene Monday morning, residents had demolished the bent structure and other structures nearby. Assemblyman for the Odorna Sahara area, Hendrik Kena, spoke to Joy News.
The fire, I believe it could be candle or matches, anything, because they don't have light. They don't use light here. So their only source of light is either candle or matches. When we move all of them from this place, I think it will not happen again.
He affirmed suspicions about the involvement of the mother of the deceased.
Yesterday I learned the girl who did, in fact it was intention. Yeah, because the guy, the boyfriend or the husband, so-called husband, said he has 3 girls. She is pregnant at the moment, and she came with the baby that she was coming to cause the 2 of the girls in the same room. She came in the morning. She started alleged that she started fighting them, but they didn't respond to her because she was pregnant. So when the fire got started, she left the baby and she ran away. So it was something intention that she did.
The boy was said to have been left sleeping in the candle-lit structure. Eyewitnesses said the fire started about 15 minutes after the boy's mother had left around 7:40 p.m. Traders rushed to the scene and managed to quench the fire before personnel of the fire service got to the scene. However, nobody, including the deceased father, who was part of those who put out the blaze, knew he was in there. Hendrik Kena said that squatters are not supposed to be here in the first place, adding that demolishing their structures is a way to stop them from coming back.
Well, back at the in Kumasi, government has promised to assist victims of the Kumasi Central Market fire. Deputy Minister for Information and Media Relations, Murtala Mohammed, made the pledge at today's briefing at the Flagstaff House.
The Deputy Minister at the briefing reiterated government's position that the recent fires, including that of the Kumasi Central Market, cannot be described as mere coincidence.
I think those who virtually verbally lynch His Excellency the President for suggesting that this could not be ordinary fires, he suggested the possibility of, if you like, arson, even though he never made a conclusive statement that it was arson. He said that it was out of ordinary, and that the security agencies would establish what was actually happening. People virtually lynched him verbally, insulted him, called him names. I believe that those people will be changing their position now. And those who suggested that this could be caused by rats, I believe will also be changing their position now.
The Deputy Minister explained the form of assistance to be extended to victims of the Kumasi Central fire outbreak.
His Excellency the President said that this fund was established to assist victims of the recent fires. Unfortunately, Kumasi has happened. They certainly will be part and parcel of that particular victims. Now, I did also say that if you are telling me that we should go back, then we must as well go back to 10 years fires. It's humanly impossible. In fact, Kantamanto and the other markets have experienced this several times. So it was very clear and specific that it was meant to assist victims of the recent fires.
He revealed a preliminary report has been submitted by security agencies who undertook investigations into the numerous fire outbreaks.
The team that came down to investigate, indeed, have actually started the work, but before they came, you realize His Excellency the President instructed the security agencies to commence investigation. Some investigation was done, and by the time the team came, the investigation that was commenced into these fires in Ghana by our security agencies, they had finished with their investigation at least and submitted preliminary reports to the team that came from the United States of America.
In a related development, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has agreed to allow victims of the latest fire outbreak at the Kumasi Central Market to put up temporary structures for market activities. The Assembly has also allocated 200,000 Ghana cedis to assist the victims to put up these structures. At a news conference earlier today, the Kumasi Mayor Kojo Bonsu emphasized with the traders whose wares and property have been destroyed by the fire. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
According to Kojo Bonsu, the Assembly would also present a report to the central government of the fire outbreak for possible assistance to the victims. Kojo Bonsu added that plans are far advanced to modernize the Kumasi Central Market to prevent future fire outbreaks. In line with the Assembly's bylaws, the KMA would also ensure the market is closed at 6 p.m. on daily basis. He cautioned the traders to avoid illegal electrical connections at the market.
All right, and on to our issue for our Facebook discussion tonight. We're asking, with the rise in the spate of fires in the country, government is maintaining that it is arson. What is your opinion on the way forward to ending these disasters? And we'll be taking your comment during the bulletin, so do stay tuned. In other stories, a total of 395,582 candidates from 9,502 public and private junior high schools have begun this year's Basic Education Certificate examination. The examination is being written at 1,227 centers nationwide. Accra Mayor Alfred Vanderpoel, during a tour of some of the centers in Accra, urged the candidates to remain steadfast as they face their first national examination hurdle.
You are standing here right now. Today is the day. For the next 6 days, you have to show that you have worked hard. You have 9 subjects on which you are going to be tested. It is my desire and my wish for every one of you that you will perform credibly, you will pass your test, and you will move on to higher standards.
Now, elsewhere, over 1,400 students in the Agona East District of the Central Region writing this year's Basic Education Certificate examinations are being supplied daily meals till the end of the exams to enhance their performance. This initiative, according to the Member of Parliament for the area, Queen Star Poku Asoya, forms part of measures to raise the standard of education in the area.
Some 40,520 candidates are writing this year's BEC in the Central Region, with 1,403 candidates writing in the Agona East District. The Agona municipality, before it became a district, has been recording 0% in the BEC. This, according to the MP, has been due to poverty and lack of education materials.
I realized that the tools for writing the exam, some will say they bought pencil, they didn't bring pen, they didn't have this. That's why I supplied math sets a week ago, so that their parents do not go and buy, thinking that they will not get. I brought the math sets on Monday last week, and some of them said they are too hungry, they cannot even wait for this second paper. And I've got, like I said, I've gone around and I've done a lot of work. Then I decide and I realized that these were the 2 very important things that will help my better Ghana agenda in Agona East. So as for the food, it is expensive, it's large, for 1,450 children every day for 7 days. It is large, but that's the only thing that can get my children out of the 0%.
Poku Asoya, who doubles as the Deputy Central Regional Minister, maintains the initiative is also in fulfillment of a campaign promise to help boost the standard of education in the area, and hoped the program would make a positive impact on the performance of candidates in the district. Some students who spoke to Joy News recounted the difficulty they went through in their preparations for the exams.
Some of us didn't bring money to school, so in this way she is helping us, though we are not having money, but she is giving the food, then it is helping us.
This year, 4 pupils out of the 282 candidates who were registered did not turn up for the first paper at the Kwanyaku Senior High School Center.
The Ghana News Agency is reporting the principal of the St. Monica's College of Education in Asante Mampong, Christiana Sabote, has defended the decision by the authorities not to allow pregnant ladies to write final exams. According to her, the decision falls within the Ghana Education Services GS rules and regulations. She said pregnant students could not take part in the July final examination because the decision of the college is guided by rules and regulations stipulated by the Teacher Education Division Manual for teacher trainees on school attachments provided by the GES. The principal made this known in a reaction to a call by the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, to allow 5 pregnant students who are in their 3rd year to write the examination. Mrs. Owote confirmed the number of pregnant students is 5, but added, and I quote, "We are still counting," adding that the college authorities only sought to enforce the GES regulations to ensure discipline and also to allow such students to receive proper antenatal care while at home, adding, and I quote again, "I am not acting on my own volition." GNAT had said the decision to disallow the ladies to write the exam was worrying since GES is already challenged with a high attrition rate of teachers. According to the GES Code of Discipline for Teacher Trainees 1998, pages 21, on special provision on pregnancy says a female student who becomes pregnant will be made to withdraw for a minimum period of 1 year to apply for readmission. However, Nat said consideration is needed for the students who, in spite of their status, are diligently prepared for the impending examinations. Now on to this very interesting story. What would you do if your 14-year-old daughter gets impregnated by her teacher? She is expelled from school while the teacher remains at post. This is a story at Dadome JHS in the North Tong district of the Volta region. Seiram Abla de Souza visited the community and has filed this report.
Dadome is a farming community located in the North Tong district of the Volta region. It has a population of about 2,000. I arrived at the community during school hours, but among the people who welcomed me was Sedinam, a pregnant teenage girl. I gave her a ride just so we could have a talk.
11 of us got pregnant and we were expelled from the school. The teacher who got me pregnant is still teaching. He asked me to abort it, but I refused.
Sedinam alleges her science teacher at Dadome JHS, Toma Nelson, has made her pregnant. She tells me the teacher suggested abortion, to which she refused, hence his denial of the pregnancy. This is Toma Nelson, the teacher who has allegedly impregnated this 14-year-old girl. I had a chat with him.
So that means that there is such a problem.
Oh, no.
And even some of the issues we had was that some of you, the teachers, have impregnated some of the girls.
I'm not the right man to answer that question.
Are you waiting till your name is mentioned before you answer?
Oh, no.
But then, have you impregnated any girl?
No. No.
As in?
I said no, madam.
The district circuit supervisor, Mr. Lajagla, after over 20 minutes back and forth, decided to grant me an interview on the matter.
Actually, with the teenage pregnancy, I am aware the reports have reached me. I have given a verbal report to the girls' child unit. The allegation that the teachers are impregnating them, this is the first time that I'm hearing it.
Now, would you be surprised if I walk in here with a student, a female student, who got impregnated in this school by a teacher in this school? Would you be surprised?
Well, I'll be surprised.
The Volta Regional Minister, Nilaye Afoteagbo, wants the teacher punished if found guilty.
Human beings are human beings, and they are not easy to deal with. So once in a while, or somewhere along the line, you see some other people or human beings behaving like animals. That is why when they are brought to book or when their activities are unveiled, they must be dealt with.
Until then, the alleged science teacher is still at post.
We have more news coming up after the break. Do stay tuned. President John Mahama is back in the country from his UK trip, where he attended some meetings and signed some bilateral agreements. He was met on arrival at the Kotoka International Airport by Vice President Kwesi Amissah-Arthur and Ministers of State, including Foreign Affairs Minister Hannah Tete, Education Minister Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang, Minister of Finance Tekpe Haruna Idrisu, and Greater Accra Regional Minister Julius Jebra. He was briefed by Vice President Kwesi Amissah-Arthur in a private meeting before he departed from the airport. While in London, President Mahama also held bilateral talks with his host, David Cameron, met with the British Foreign Secretary, granted audience to the All Africa Parliamentary Group from the British House of Commons, the African Diplomatic Corps in the UK, and participated in the Prime Minister's lunch for heads of state attending the G8 summit. Now, one of President Mahama's meetings whilst in the UK was meeting Ghanaians resident in that country, the first such opportunity for most of them since his election. Whilst most of them relished the opportunity, others gathered outside the Ghana High Commission office at Highgate, London, venue for the event, to protest with placards.
Hundreds of Ghanaians converged at the premises, some in full traditional regalia, a rather interesting choice of outfits for a chilly summer evening. Flanked by ministers of state, President Mahama said his mission is to clear misinformation they must have received about the state of the economy, especially the energy situation.
It looks like everyone appreciates our country except we ourselves. If you go everywhere, the whole international community, other African countries are upbeat about what we're doing in Ghana. But if you go to Ghana, you would think that we live in a hellhole. But the statistics don't support that. Ghana is making progress. It doesn't mean we don't have challenges. No, even here there are challenges. I don't say that everybody goes to bed in Ghana with a full stomach. I don't say that children don't die. I don't say that women are not dying giving birth. But we're making progress in reducing all this. But because it's happening every day, we don't see it. But at the end of the journey, we can look back and measure and say, look, we've succeeded in doing some things well. But it is only when we realize our successes that we can build on it.
Leaders of the National Democratic Congress also took turns to assure the Ghanaian community the country is on the right track. A senior member of government and advisor to the President, P.V. Obeng, urged the gathering not to be provoked by the protest outside the premises during the meeting.
There are some ugly noises outside. We don't take notice of that. But I have an advice. You should not be the ones that must put fuel and petrol inside the thing. So I beg of you, let the words of our former president and the voice re-echoed by our president, JDM, be our watchword. They both have promised to be father of all. It is what we do that will give ammunition to it. We have a responsibility to show examples of candor, examples of discipline, examples of cool-heartedness. They can provoke, but don't respond to provocation.
But rather improve the camaraderie among themselves. Some of them spoke to Joy News.
I can't wait to come back home. I've been here for 23 years, and I think it's time for me to go home. Oh, well, we are optimistic, looking forward to what's going to happen in the future. We're not going to give up because we all want to come back. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see what he can do for us. He's given us fantastic information that we will all take it away and see what we can do for the future. I think
Now, residents downstream the Wager Dam have largely been spared the flooding fear to follow the opening of its floodgates. The Ghana Water Company, which manages the facility, attributes this to the controlled spillage. Instead of the misery they feared, the residents, mainly fisherfolk, are actually happy the spillage has brought a boost to their business.
The regulated spillage on Saturday was occasioned by a sharp rise in the volume of water in the reservoir from the safe operational level of 47 feet to 47.7 in just 30 minutes. The spillage was, however, funneled down just 2 out of the 5 outlets. The resident fisherfolk have been reluctant to vacate the area. Despite several warnings about the dangers, could be seen cashing in on the situation, which many had feared would have been a misfortune. They maintain calls for their relocation from the area does not make economic sense, as the spillage brings with it a bumper harvest.
We have made river defense. The machine was being supplied by NANMO, fuel by the individuals, and Ghana palm blood salt industry, which they are helping very a lot for the fueling the excavator. Our residents association at Oblogo Newtown, they are working very tirelessly for fueling the machine. They are contributing, giving out a donation to fuel the machine so that that place could be covered immediately.
Meanwhile, the assemblyman for the area says they are doing all they can to ensure the residents are safe.
Since we are born bred here, when this river is being spilled, it's our blessing. This is a place where we too get our daily job, like fishing and so forth. We are favorably preparing for our fishing materials. So we are appealing to the government, central government, to give us a loan from the Maslock so that we can buy the fishing nets and boats and so on. When it spill up, this is a place where we get our bumper harvest of tilapia and adwen and so forth.
According to the site manager of the Wager Dam, Paul Ganta, the spill gates are likely to be opened once again once the rain intensifies.
Meanwhile, workers of Ghana Urban Water Limited have given government a 2-week ultimatum to respond to the approval of its merger with the Ghana Water Company Limited. They argue running 2 separate boards for their 2 entities is a duplication of functions and a misuse of meager funds which otherwise could have been used to improve water supply.
Red flags and banners to push for the merger, a move which had earlier been agreed would take place in February this year but was suspended. Deputy Water Resource Works and Housing Minister Samson Ahi had arrived at the company's head office, a short distance from the Flagstaff House, at the time the news crew got there and had gone into a meeting with some of the union leaders. The workers' major concern remains the duplication of functions.
You have 2 management. You said there's no money. As you speak now, we've not been able to negotiate our salary. Okay? He said we don't have money. We look at the figures. Okay? It's true from the figures. We don't have money. All right, but how then do you run 2 management? You pay 2 managing directors. You pay 2 board. Pay everything 2. That relative to the incomes could be negligible. But how do you explain it to the man down there?
The deputy minister indicated the measure was necessary but promised the workers he could only give them a firm word in 2 weeks after cabinet has met on the issue.
It is not a deliberate thing to delay it, but circumstances beyond our control. But I guess the assurance now is that what is needed to be done has been done. And so let's pray that in the next available cabinet meeting, cabinet will look at it and then give the approval.
He also assured the workers none of them risks losing their jobs in the merger.
Reconstruction work at the Gamanches Palace here in Accra is set to be completed in weeks. It follows accusations by some chiefs in the Ga State against Accra Mayor Alfred Van der Poy, who they say has failed to show keen interest in the affairs of the Ga people. The mayor, who inspected progress of work, once again refuted the accusations.
The assembly said work on the palace, which started some 5 months ago, is in 3 phases, with the first 2 phases expected to be completed before the start of the Homo festivities. The Accra mayor also dismissed claims he is running a one-man show.
People of the Ga State who are concerned about the facilities of the Gamanche Palace, and unbeknownst to them is the fact that for the past about 4 or 5 months now, we've been working here actively, which they didn't know. So they expressed that concern last week, and I felt that it was necessary to bring them here to show them and to let them know that we've been working very actively.
He hinted the Accra Metropolitan Assembly had secured funding to construct a modern community center for Accra.
It will have floors there for the traditional, so where they will have their general meeting. It will have floors there for each of the 7 divisions of Accra.
The Sakomo Wulomo Numo Ugbami III expressed satisfaction with the progress of work on the palace.
We're taking a break now. Up next, though, it's business news. Now, multinationals entering Ghana may no longer enjoy tax holidays from government. President John Mahama has made it clear that previous practice where companies were giving tax holidays is injurious to the state coffers. The president was speaking at a business forum on trade, tax and transparency in the UK. He explained government would soon come out with a workable strategy to plug all the financial leakages that come from what he describes as the tricks of foreign companies. President Mahama is also recommending the deregulation of investments in energy, agriculture and roads that will help speed up the infrastructural development of the country. Management of the Kaneshie Market Complex in Accra is asking city authorities to ensure all markets have security personnel at post to make sure traders do not sleep over with the electrical appliances on. They believe the rampant fires will cease if proper management teams are instituted in markets across the country.
Fire outbreaks are becoming characteristic of major markets in the capital, except for the Kaneshie Market Complex. The market, since its establishment in 1979, is yet to experience a major fire outbreak. Apart from its proper structuring, traders here are regularly trained on firefighting, among several interventions in place.
We don't allow any naked fire on the market. In our market, there's no way that you can just come and do things your way. Even those who have cylinders, gas, they use. Our security people are there to ensure that the way you position is, what you are doing is right, and if you don't go by our laws, we'll go away.
Traders here feel secure doing business and are confident the market will never suffer a fire outbreak.
As for selling here, is very, very secured. They don't allow us to bring any other electrician to come and connect something. No, they don't allow us. And they have fire extinguishers. Sometimes you heard somebody say there is a fire here, you see them running up and down with the extinguisher. So as for fire, I know we are safe here.
There has been advocacy for insuring traders in the wake of market fires. Though managers here have insured the market, the traders haven't insured their wares.
They've advised us to do some insurance to cover our goods in case of any fire outbreak. But because the market is not moving fast, as traders, as single parents, we can't pay all this insurance.
Market managers believe fires could be prevented if apt management teams are in place.
It's time that our markets are also able to have proper management put in place. Abobuloshin, Mokola, Malata, there should be management in proper coordination so that they can enforce the rules and the laws, and everything will be okay.
Traders here may be secured against fires, but for them, a major source of worry is the hawkers outside the market doing brisk business.
Everything downstairs, any damn thing is down. So if the person reached there and got what she wants, she buy and go away. They will not climb here. So we are here, but we are paying AMA, we are paying tax.
Management of the Kaneshie Market Complex may be good at enforcing laws to prevent fire outbreaks in the market, but getting rid of hawkers here who are taking over the business of traders inside the market structure appears a rather daunting task. Abigail Adumakwentri for Joy News.
The Freedom Institute, a policy think tank, is threatening to expose officials at government and state agencies as well as other private organizations engaged in shady deals at the expense of the state. According to its executive director, Andrew Wuni, the state loses as much as $500 million every 3 months from such corrupt acts and wants government to take up the fight against corruption as a national issue.
A 2-week undercover investigations by the Freedom Institute and ACE investigative journalist Anas Aremeyawanas uncovered some shady deals at the Tema port. The investigations revealed that some clearing agents and other officials ignore the laid-down inspection processes of containers and thereby give their own descriptions to containers on customs documentations to attract little or no tax at all.
You see, we have high-value goods and we have low-valued goods. High-valued goods are goods that attract, in fact, their face value are high, and therefore 25% import duty as charged by our ports here will also be high. So what they simply do is describe the item, the container, as a low-valued goods.
Executive Director of the Freedom Institute, Andrew Awuni, is worried that corruption is deeply ingrained in the moral fiber of society and that the institute will not hesitate to name and shame any public official caught defrauding the state.
Naming and shaming is something that we can do. It's within our bosom. We do the investigation, we name the institution or the individual, and we shame the person. But then we will share the information, as we will with this particular one. We will be sharing it with the government. And let those institutions, the institutions that are responsible, fortunately for us, and gladly also, the government is also ahead with their task force. So they will receive the information. We are going to insist that these people pay the monies they have taken away from Ghana.
The institute, he noted, will not relent in its efforts to take up the fight against corruption in the country, but called for the involvement of the media. The institute is expected to go public in the next 2 weeks with the names of the various companies and individuals engaged in shady deals at the Tema port during its 2 weeks investigations.
Ghanaians have gradually developed a taste for sweet-scented rice, now a common feature on the menu of restaurants and other eating places, as well as on most festive occasions. Most of the brands are, however, imported, mainly from the US and Asia. But the Crops Research Institute is in the process of developing an aromatic variety of the staple that will be uniquely Ghanaian. It will equally serve the needs of farmers, as the variety is expected to be high-yielding and resistant to pests and diseases. Adelaide Arthur has more.
From perfume to long grains, the Ghanaian market is flooded with a variety of brands. Statistics show the country imports more than 70% of the rice it consumes, largely due to low cultivation. It is also because the local rice does not appeal to consumers because of its poor quality and taste. In its quest to develop a local variety that would meet the expectations of local consumers, the CSIR Crops Research Institute has settled on a grain that has aroma and is resistant to the blast and rice yellow mottle virus, the two most dominant rice diseases in Africa. Rice breeder with the institute, Dr. Maxwell Darko Asante, tells Joy News, using the marker-assisted selection, the Jasmine 85 good quality fragrant rice, which is susceptible to the two diseases, has been crossed with the disease-tolerant Dijan variety, which has poor taste and grain quality.
When the plant is still very young, I can take a little tissue, extract DNA, and use the markers to be able to know which plant has the aroma and which ones do not have the aroma. So immediately I throw away the ones without aroma if my interest is in aroma. Because otherwise you have to do visual selection, and sometimes it's very difficult, especially when you are dealing with a recessive trait. It doesn't really show up until you go to the next generation for it to segregate. The molecular markers are just like signposts to help you to know whether the gene that you are interested in is there or not. Yeah, so we use those modern technology, just DNA markers, to be able to speed up the selection.
He explains the marker-assisted selection is still conventional breeding and not genetic modification, since there is no foreign gene transfer. Dr. Asante and his team are in the process of selecting lines that have been able to combine high yield, tolerance to the diseases, and the good grain quality preferred by most Ghanaians. He says farmers in the meantime will find useful Jasmine 85 and Amankwetia rice varieties, which were released in 2009 and 2010 respectively.
That'll be all by way of business. Now, Ghanaian actor Majid Michel has received an award at the just-ended African Golden Crown Awards held in Abidjan. Majid promised his support to further improve the movie industry.
The beat is going to move to you, not you to the beat.
Majid Michel was propelled into stardom after the series Things We Do for Love, where he was nicknamed Shaker. Majid has starred in several movies including The Game, Besting Out, Foreplay and Reloaded. Majid Michel has been awarded at the just-ended African Golden Crown Award held in Abidjan, which comes as no surprise to Ghanaians. He cautioned movie makers to pray for Danho Paulin Claude, the mayor of Ivory Coast, who presented the award to him. According to him, Danho Paulin Claude has taken his time to invest into the African film industry by supporting the GPAT Awards and the Ivory Coast film industry. He also said that he was ready to build the Ivory Coast industry. Apart from Majid Michel, who picked the special award, other movie stars like Nigerian Jennifer Ugozie also picked an award for her role in the movie Last Flight to Abuja. Actors from Niger, Benin, Cameroon, Liberia, among others, also picked up awards.
And then Multi-TV celebrated Father's Day at the Lizzie Sports Complex. My Dad is Tough in recognition of fatherhood and the roles in the family. Some Hip Life artists passed through and participated in the activities. And that'll be all for Showbiz. We'll take a quick look at some of the comments you've sent in to the question we asked you. With the rise in the spate of fires in the country, government is maintaining that it is arson. We're asking you what is your opinion on the way forward to ending these fires. And these are some of the comments we've had. Felix Sparrow says, let's ask our pastors if they can help us in this problem. Nana Ansa says, all we need to do is pray for forgiveness of sins. Raping here, stealing here, homosexual and lesbianism there, that's the result. God forgive us, Ghanaians. Aziz Dedong says, all is just to make the present work difficult and a bad one, but they would never prosper. John Mahama would rule peacefully, enemies of progress. If they don't stop in their ways, and their court would, but the law aside, will deal with them. Seydu Samad, PhD, he says, I vehemently support the government position that it is arson, but if the government believes it is arson, why should they bring foreigners to investigate the cause? And then Constant Saka Di Santo, we need serious divine intervention. We should change our attitude. These are a few of the comments that have come through. So that's it for the bulletin, and thank you very much for your comments. Before we go, a quick run through our top stories. Nearly 400,000 candidates begin the basic education certificate examinations around the country. President Mahama has arrived from his trip to the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, government has reiterated its position the numerous market fires cannot be mere coincidence as American investigators arrive in Kumasi to gather evidence from the latest outbreak. Policy think tank Freedom Institute is threatening to expose corrupt government officials and private individuals and companies, it says, are defrauding the state of hundreds of millions of dollars. And then residents living downstream the Wager Dam have been spared the much anticipated flooding after spillage by authorities over the weekend. That'll be all for the bulletin. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com.